Good day guys, nice to have you here. We're back on the original server and today I'll share some tips, tricks, and strategies that are all guaranteed to help you win more games with Argus. First, let's talk about the lineup. We had Natalia as a roamer, Karita as our mid laner, Leslie as our gold laner, Lancelot as our jungler, and of course Argus as our XP laner. In my opinion, Natalia is best played as a roamer. However, there should still be a tank in order to act as a frontliner for the team. I think instead of Lancelot, it would have been better if we had a tanky jungler. The same principle applies when playing squishy roamers such as Selena. As for the enemy team, their lineup was decent. However, their picks were mostly heroes that Argus can play well against. Also, the fact that they had Aemon on the XP lane was a bad idea. I think it would have been better if Alucard played on the XP lane, while Aemon was their jungler. Argus is capable of dealing great damage, especially against heroes with smaller HP pools, such as Aemon. To make matters worse, Argus' second skill works amazingly well against him. Before we continue though, I want to give my shoutouts to PLX's channel, and he too hosts a YouTube channel, so make sure to give him some love. Now let's talk about the laning phase. I normally play Argus on the gold lane because of the advantage he has against most marksmen, but in that situation I was more than happy to play him on the XP lane because of the matchup. During the first 5 minutes of the game, be very wise when it comes to clearing minions. Try not to overcommit in clearing it quickly and freeze the lane, and once an allied minion is about to die, maneuver yourself towards a more aggressive stance or position in order to discourage and hopefully force the opposing XP laner to lose experience and gold. Ideally, the only time you should rush clearing the enemy minions is after the 5th minute wave or whenever you need to help your teammates close by. The first item I got was Windtalker. I wanted to give Argus a head start in attack and movement speed, especially since we equipped Inspire. With Inspire, we'll be able to deliver greater damage without the need of relying too much on damage equipment. In addition to that, I also used High and Dry with all points in physical damage and physical penetration, which compensates for Windtalker's low damage output. After getting Swift Boots, I got Argus Berserker's Fury, which will greatly improve his damage output. It also complements Windtalker really well and can be very oppressive against enemies with low defense and armor, such as the lineup of the enemies we had in that game. I misplayed a little, which is why Aemon was able to escape. However, don't let one mistake force you to make another mistake. Don't be greedy. Notice that instead of forcing the kill, I let him go and just went back to the lane. That's because the fact that he will retreat is already good enough. It's better than trading 1 kill and 1 death in that situation. Since we held back, we were able to gain more experience and gold, thus maintaining our lead. Notice that I try to avoid engaging in fights if both my first and second skills are not available. One of the key strengths of Argus, despite being a hero that relies on his basic attacks, are those 2 skills. Those skills allow him to incapacitate and decrease the gap, thus making it possible to land his basic attacks continuously. Not having those skills when engaging with enemies is one of the common mistakes of poor Argus players. Another thing to consider when playing Argus as an XP laner is your mentality. Forget about kills. Instead, let the kills come to you. Focus on holding your lane and, if needed, the middle lane. Doing so will greatly help your teammates execute ganks and dominate teamfights. I got Demon Hunter Sword next. I don't usually get Demon Hunter Sword as my first equipment for Argus because it's not very powerful on him on the early game. Instead, I get it usually as a third or fourth equipment. Getting it later instead of the earlier phases in my opinion is a better choice since its damage scales according to the target's current HP. And since HP on the early game is quite lower for most heroes, that means getting DHS early will result to a much lower damage output compared to getting it on the middle and latter parts of the game. Positioning is one of the keys to victory, and that can be achieved by having good map awareness. I saw Johnson drive by the middle lane, which made me decide to change my position. You'll find out soon that I made the right choice. As you saw, they crashed directly towards the spot where I was. While it's true that I still would have survived it, but because I switched places, he ended up wasting his ultimate and causing Eudora's death. Next equipment I got was Scarlet Phantom. Usually I would rather get Malefic Roar because of its damage penetration. In that game however, a lot of the enemies were built squishy. Even Johnson decided to go with magic equipment. Having Scarlet Phantom will complete the critical trinity combo, which is Scarlet Phantom, Berserker's Fury, and Windtalker, which all work together perfectly. And of course, this will be followed by Blade of Despair to further improve Argus damage output. It's also important to always know what the items purchased by all players are, what their levels are, and how they are performing. That will help you decide which items to purchase or what decisions to make. A perfect example is Alucard. Usually I would purchase Sea Halberd against him to lower down his lifesteal effect a little, but since he was performing poorly, I didn't purchase that equipment anymore. That concludes our Mobile Legends content for today. Do you have any other recommendations I might have missed? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you haven't yet, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stay safe everyone. Peace.